We're here at Star Trek Las Vegas 2015, and we are at the Star Trek Online booth with Captain Geko, the man himself, Al Rivera. Thank you for joining us.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me. It's always good to talk to TrekRadio.
Definitely. We love the game, and we love what you're doing. We definitely enjoyed Delta Rising, and at the panel that was earlier this week during the convention, there was a new announcement for New Dawn. And for those, it was a big hit at the convention, a big hit online with people tweeting. Tell us a little bit about New Dawn and what we can expect with that.
Okay, well, New Dawn is season 11. It will be coming out around October. It's our new season, and it's a whole new story. So at the end of 10.5 will be the end of the Iconian War, and that's midnight. And coming forward, the next storyline is New Dawn. And so it's basically a story about rebuilding after the war and people dealing with the consequences of the war. How does an alliance like the Klingons and the Federation maintain without a common threat, right? It's a lot lighter in tone. It's a lot because it's not all the dark and suppression and just murder and terrible, all the terrible tragedies of the Iconian War. So now it's more about rebuilding, and this will be a new story arc that will take players, past 2016. So this is not just a season. This is a benchmark of a new arc that will go for years, and it is so that's a great time for new players to come into the game because everyone can kind of experience the story together from the ground floor. And we'll also see the introduction of a new villain, one that we've seen in Star Trek, but not in Star Trek Online before. I don't want to talk too much about what it is, but it's in a very coy way. I'll say that you get to see their origin story, so you can kind of try to figure that out for yourself, what that means. And the Federation, the Klingon Empire, they're kind of exposed to all these kind of different types of time travel, right? Because they're dealing with the Krenim now, and so what does that mean for them? What's that going to mean for the players in the game, the story? So we'll be kind of dealing with some of that as well.
And then what new for the Romulans? They're also trying to rebuild and recover from the Iconian War? Sure,
all three factions. This is obviously an arc for all three factions, right? And that's the main story arc that we're building for season 11. But there's also an additional storyline that we're also bringing in, and that is the Mirror Universe incursion, right? So everything that happens in our universe, the Prime Universe, happens in the Mirror Universe. And so in the Mirror Universe, they had an Iconian War, but it was different. So we get to learn about what happened there, and so what we're doing is the Mirror Universe is having incursion into the Prime Universe, and that will mean two new Qs, both happening at Deep Space Nine. It's a very Deep Space Nine centric kind of season, so it'll happen at Deep Space Nine space and Deep Space Nine interior Q, as well as a new battle zone, space battle zone that will happen at the Badlands. The Terran forces have set up a beachhead. They've come through the Badlands through some means, and they set up a beachfront there. So there'll be a new battle zone there. The forces will be led by Mira Lita, voiced by Chase Masterson. She was on stage with us at the panel, so we get to see a very darker Lita, and we've seen her once before in an episode, but we'll see a lot more of that character develop. She's actually the fleet admiral leading the forces, so she's in charge. And we're also, what I didn't talk about the panel, we're also doing we're revamping the Cardassian arc. So this will be the last piece of content on the Federation side that was launch content. So we'll get that, and that will also tell the backstory of everything else that's going on in what I just talked about, the Mirror Universe, because we get to see the Deep Space Nine story, and we'll touch on the Badlands and learn how the Mirror forces are coming through. So we get to see a little bit of a prequel to it, and then basically learn the results of the Iconian War on the Mirror Universe as in the Qs in the battle zone.
And is that basically would be some of the last content from launch that at a certain point there will be like no art, no assets or anything from the launch, that it's all been revamped and redone, or is there still some that remains from basically towards launch?
Well, no art is a bit of a stretch because there's lots and lots of assets throughout the game. I'm talking specifically about the mission content specifically. On the Federation side, I think there's still a few pieces of content left on the Klingon side that will need to be remastered at some point, although a lot of it has already been. I'm thinking particularly of the Fek'Ari arc is something that we want to revamp, but it'll be the last piece for the Federation side. It's playable by both sides, but it's playable by all three factions for that matter. So that would be the last piece of that original content that is available to everybody. But as far, we'll be rebuilding the art assets for that content as well. But your question of is the last piece of actual art? No, we still have original ships in the game and other places in other geo in the world that's still original. But the story content, it'll be from a story point of view and from an art point of view. That'll be that's being redone. That'll be the last piece for that.
Also joining you on stage was Aaron Eisenberg, and he was also in costume as Nog from the panel before that. And he said that Nog's character is coming back. Would tell us a little bit about that, if you can.
Sure. So Aaron Eisenberg, Nog's character, will be coming back next week. Next week is our next featured episode we'll be releasing. It's called Butterfly, and it'll be featuring Aaron Eisenberg again as Nog. So we're not going to tell you too much about it, although other than it is the Federation, the Klingons are getting very desperate, and so they're going to start figuring out whether or not what they should do with this Krenim technology that they're working with the Krenims with, right? And it's going to be a really powerful episode. I hope it'll make you cry.
Oh, interesting. That's something that we have seen some very visceral reactions. Obviously Bonniekin, that episode, people feel like that's. Some people won't play it with the lights off. It's very affecting. And then there's some really other parts of the game that people connect to real strongly. So that one, if bringing some of the emotion into the game, that'll be very cool, because a lot of video games, or especially MMOs, it's hard to do that. And so Star Trek Online has some great writers, some great storytellers, and a lot of that also is with the art design, the sound design. So that's very cool to hear about. With Delta Rising, there was a lot of different changes to the game. What, mechanically or system-wise, is there anything new that's going to be coming with New Dawn, aside from new story and new ships? Is there anything like updates to the engine, to the core systems, or anything like that?
Well, the main thing that we are releasing is the new Admiralty System, right? So the Admiralty System is similar to the Duty Officer System, but the gameplay is very different. It's similar insofar that it's a turn-based thing that you go and you do these assignments. But what it is you can get to send your ships off on these campaigns and tours of duty. And so for every ship that you own, you get one Admiralty ship of that time. And every single ship in the Admiralty System is unique. There are tiers of ships and there's qualities of ships. So you can have a common tier 6 or a very rare or tier 6. And so for every ship you have, you get one of these. And it's not going to affect, if you send one out, you can still fly your main ship. That's not going to be... Some people have asked me, if I send a ship out on these assignments, can I use my ship? Can I fly it? Yes, you can. But you'll be able to send them out on different campaigns and tour duty to earn specific rewards. But because people have a lot less ships than they would say duty officers, the average person we discovered has about 15. This is a much more strategic style gameplay. Every ship is unique and every ship has unique special abilities. So the special abilities are not like traits in the duty officer where it's just match this to this. That's not how this system works. This is more like a CCG. So it might be you may have ability that something as simple as this adds +5 science for every science vessel or maybe +5 tactical for every science vessel on this assignment. You can only ever send 3 onto one particular assignment. Or it might be if you send this ship, you always if you crit, to have a successful crit, you'll always bring back prisoners. Or if you have, this gives you a set bonus for every other, this is a Jem'Hadar ship, maybe it's a Jem'Hadar Dreadnought carrier, I'm just making something up right now, gives you +5 tactical for every other Jem'Hadar ship you have on assignment with it. So that kind of thing. And you can't have more than one of any ship, so you can't have 2 Jem'Hadar attack ships or 2 sovereigns, it's just one of every type. So,
that's very cool.
Yeah. So that's how. So and it's a much simpler system, but and the rewards are very focused. And as you work on a particular campaign, then you start earning your way towards a particular reward that is repeatable, and it could be like a big chunk of dilithium, or a big chunk of fleet marks, or a big chunk of XP. I don't have all the details on exactly what rewards were, but you're always working towards something, as opposed to just getting random stuff. And unlike Duty Officer System, you don't have to go to locations to get it. You can just do it from wherever you like.
That's very cool.
We'll be launching with 3 campaigns, Federation, Romulan, and Klingon, and we'll add additional campaigns in the future.
And then with I think it's been a big hit with the players at the new Armada system. Is that going as planned, or is that, how has that been since it's been launched and now people are using it?
It's going extremely well. I think so. I think it's doing what it's supposed to do. It's causing a little bit of drama, and that's kind of what the idea is. It's we launched with a few bugs, and that's to be expected with a system of that size. But it's pretty solid, and I think where you see the drama is you've got the idea is you've got small fleets, and then as fleets get bigger and they on the bottom and they filled up all of their projects, they no longer need the lithium discount that you get from that, and they want to have the better skill point bonus, and so they're tempted to want to leave, and so maybe the beta fleet wants to leave and take their gamma fleets with them, and then become an alpha with 3 betas instead. But then their overall level goes down, so their discount goes down, but their potential goes up, right? So, and that's exactly what we wanted, and it's supposed to have that kind of these things flow down and these things flow up. It's really still very early for a system this big to see where things will go and what we'll do with it. The system is scalable. If we ever wanted to say add a delta, fleets and have 3 more below that, would be 3 of each of the 9, so that'd be a lot. Or maybe expand it horizontally instead, so it's not 3, it's like 4 and then 4. We have the ability to do that, but we're not in a hurry to do that right now. I don't know if we should, but it's something that we have the ability to, we planned for. And I also love to see maybe us do allow cross-faction armadas.
That's something that as soon as it was announced and people were trying it, that's a big question. Like, can Klingon and Federation work together, Romulan and Klingon, that type of thing? That would be if that's doable, and also if it works into a storyline. If it makes sense, I think that would be a big hit. Also, we're happy to see that Chase is coming back. She was Lita, the Dabo girl, and she did some voiceover work. Now we're getting Mirror Lita in a new role. I'm sure there's always somebody down the pipeline, but are you in the works of getting very close to having new voice actors come in? Is there somebody you're looking at? Now, obviously, you may not say who it is, but are you in the works with trying to bring in some more, or you got your hands full with bringing in existing people to come back and do more?
Well, we always have our hands full with that, and there's always more people that we want to get. But that's one of the main reasons that we come to convention, is that we get to meet and interact with them and start building a relationship with them. And I think now that we've had so many of the actors in the game, we're starting to see momentum and with that, as far as we're building legitimacy, right? So we've got a lot of these actors telling the other ones, yeah, it was a great experience and I loved it, and so some of them becoming ambassadors for us. So I certainly don't want to talk about anyone else we've got planned. For now, all we're talking about is Chase Masterson as Mirror Lita. But I saw a change this year at Star Trek Las Vegas. Usually I'm always chasing them around and saying that, would you be interested? And they don't know who we are. And so I understand they can be a little aloof because they don't know who I am. Maybe they probably don't know the game, and they probably get accosted and asked to work on all kinds of special projects and don't know if they're legitimate or not, and don't realize who we are. But now, as the word's getting out and people are asking them questions on stage about it, and a lot of these actors work to go to lunch together, and they work together, go to conventions, the circuits all over the country, and it comes up. We're starting to get them coming to us now, and that's, probably a lot of people know that Manu Icheb, right, he really wants to get in the game, so he's been approaching us. He's come here. We've got Armin Shimmerman came and talked with us. Aaron had talked with him after the panel, and he wanted to meet me to talk about maybe coming on board in the game. Who else? There was one other. I can't remember. I'm sorry. I apologize for which one. But I also talked to I remember Scirocco, Jake Sisko, expressed some interest now, and so we've gotten that momentum and that legitimacy now. So now I've got more than I can use because
now you got to figure out a story where to fit them in.
Yeah, it's hard because we plan 18 months ahead of time, and there's always a budget, and then there's the story, and there's the business strategy. So but it's great. That's a great position to be in right now. Yeah.
Very cool. Well, definitely want to thank you for taking some time to join us. We love the panel. We love the video trailer. The trailer is out now for New Dawn?
Yeah, the trailer's out. You can see the trailer on StarTrekOnline.com, and I believe you have doesn't TrekRadio now have the panel on for download yet, or?
It will be soon. We periscoped it live, so people were definitely enjoying the panel. We have a high definition video and audio. We're going to be, polishing up, condensing a little bit. We'll post it. We'll get it out there to everybody, Facebook, Twitter, on the website, because I know everybody's interested who couldn't attend the panel or couldn't attend the convention. They want to hear all the great questions, from the fans and the guests. Seeing Chase and Aaron up there was very cool. So we'll definitely get that out there very soon. But everybody keep an eye on Star Trek Online.
Yes. Oh, and I've got one other. There is one other actor I'd like to mention. Is not a main cast member. Her name is Kipley Brown. And so Kipley Brown will be doing some VO work for us in the first episode of season 11. If you don't know Kipley played a character in Enterprise. I don't remember her character's name, but she was an engineer that died. Her trip was when he was depressed about his sister dying, and he had to write a letter because he lost this engineer in the battle with the Xindi. So that's Kipley Brown. So we're bringing her. She's not playing that character because her character is dead. But she'll be playing another character. She's a friend of the company, and she's also working on Star Trek Continues, the fan production. So she's a big Trekkie. So we're looking forward to working with her. But yeah, keep an eye. We'll be having a lot more details about the new content, new systems coming out, and keep an eye, really, especially for next week. Right now, just keep your eye on that one as far as episode Butterfly, and then about a month or so after that, following up the finale of the Iconian War.
And a very cool treat for fans in attendance at the convention is the EMH bridge officer. That was very cool. That was new this year, right?
Yes, that was new. So the Hololido duty officers that we usually give out, they're out of print. So if you want to get them, actually Chase Masterson still has some herself. So if you're here at this convention or if you go to another convention, you can check with her. And I'm not sure how many she has left, but that's the only place you can get them right now is from Chase. And so this year we printed out a holographic bridge officer. It's sculpted like it's an EMH Mark I, so sculpted like Picardo, and so it's a fully loaded gold quality bridge officer account unlock, but you can only get it here at the convention.
And then for the Klingons, there's a Klingon EMH?
It's an account unlock EMH, so if you're Federation, it's the EMH Mark I, it's Picardo, but if you're Klingon, it's effectively Alien Gen. Just starts off looking like an Orion with blue hair, an Orion female, but you can make it look like whatever you want, but it's the same stats, it's the same bridge officer effectively.
Awesome, thank you very much. We're loving Star Trek Online and all the new developments.
Thank you, Deyvid.
Keep an eye on it.